Hi, I'm Jeff Gould, America's Storyteller. And why do I say that? Well, because yes, I'm interested in the story of America, but I'm also maybe more interested in the story of Americans. Not the top half of 1%, not the famous people, but the people that make the country what it is. And Thaddeus Giedd is one of those guys. He's a guy I wanted to find out more about because he's of a different generation and has really interesting insights, and yet also has this open side where you can find out what makes him who he is. A really great guy to have a conversation with. You'll love the conversation. Give us some inside information on what it takes to put up a TEDx talk and how important that has been. And some of the people he's hung around with, name dropping here, Tim Tebow and John Maxwell. And here we go with the interview with Thaddeus Giedd. And hello, I'm Jeff Gould, America's Storyteller. I like to interview interesting people who have interesting things to say. Thaddeus Giedd is with us. And your full name, Thaddeus, is?
Thadeus Giedd, yeah. Thadeus Amadeus Giedd, if you want the middle name.
That's the middle name. Now, I was thinking about this because whenever I go to like a restaurant and they ask for my name, because it ends with an F, they never really hear it. And they go, was that Jack? So I bet with the name Thad, people go like, now what now? What names are you called?
Yeah. So here's a story. I think I was ordering Famous Dave's takeout, and I said, the order, and they said, all right, it'll be ready in 50 minutes. What's your name? I said, Thad. They said, Tim? I said, no, Thad. They said, Todd? And I said, yeah, Todd. Todd will be there in 15 minutes to pick up his ribs. I can't go back and forth with you after two times. That was my max. So yeah. It's mistaken quite a bit.
I have a suit that, you go to get tailor made, and in the back, in the pocket, it says exclusively made for Jack. So, all right. Well, yeah. we're going to have a lot of fun today, Chad. Of course, you get a chance to ask me any question you want, but just one question, just one, only one question. You have one question, and one question only you can ask, but I'm not going to answer that question till I get done asking you some questions. Okay. So
sure.
You got your Jeopardy board with you. So I like Jeopardy. So go ahead, pick your category and your question. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, was I supposed to be looking at that? I don't have it in front of me. You're going to have to do it for me, Jeff.
Okay. All right. So here are your selections: biblical banter, stupid and ridiculous, your history, your guess is as good as mine, read my mind, and quite the character.
Pick your biblical right away.
What's that?
Yeah. Let's go biblical right away.
Biblical banter. Okay.
Yeah.
Biblical banter for 400.
Sure.
Which one of the parables bothers you the most?
All the parables?
Yeah, pick one that bothers you the most. You got one?
Gosh, none of them bother me.
Oh my. Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now the one that bothers me. I just heard this on Sunday. I was hoping he would explain it, but he went off on another path. This is the shrewd manager one, right? Where this guy is going to get let go by his boss, and he knows he's too old to really work manual labor, and he says, okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to all of my boss's accounts that owe money, and I'm going to cut a deal with each of them. So if this guy owns like $100, let's say, I say, tell you what, if you pay the bill right now for $50, we'll settle it up. Okay. Right away in that parable, you say, oh, well, that guy's going to get it. That guy's going to get it. No. Jesus said, well, good job. Good job there, pal, because you know how the world works. All right. That's one example of a parable that, I just did not see that response coming. And I'm imagining being one of the disciples. I think this is why the disciples were afraid to ask Jesus questions. Because no matter,
it's a hard
teaching. Kind of go,
yeah,
I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble.
I don't know. The one that comes to mind was not much really a parable, but when Jesus had I don't know if it was the Samaritan say that she is a dog, And he's like, yes, you are a dog, but you are saved anyway, or
Yeah,
you are
even
blessed anyway.
whatever, something to the
Wow.
effect where he says, "Why should I help you out? You're a Samaritan." And she
Yeah.
comes back with like, "Well, even dogs get scraps from the table."
Yeah. And he
I go,
said,
"Ah, that's a good
well,
point.
affirmed.
It's a good point." And he doesn't
Yep.
say, he doesn't deny it. He doesn't say, "No, wait a second. All of my
Yep.
creatures are equal in God's eyes." He said, "No, you're
Yep.
okay. I get it. Since you
I-
are willing to humble yourself, here's a scrap." Right.
yeah. That's what's fun
Yeah.
about like The Chosen, and I think a lot more illustrated, like kind of Bible breakdowns or whatever. They really giving the visual context. Like you kind of had to be there, I think, for 50% of Jesus's teachings, or at least be able to put yourself there. Because he
Yeah.
spoke quite
I
a
think,
bit in like the context of it.
yeah, right. Right. And the inflection on the voice, like, did he say it this way? Did he say it this way?
Mhm.
I was just grinding my way through Numbers in the Old Testament, and Moses has a Cushite wife. Well, I know you're not supposed to, in that time, you're not supposed to marry outside of the tribe. So I
Yep.
think that he's going to get, busted for it. But instead,
Mhm.
his sister does and his brother. I go, okay, well, I don't understand that part of it. There's many sections of the Bible that I
Yeah, the
read.
Old Testament. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
The Old Testament gets in the thick of it. I mean, Lot, and don't. Jesus said, "Remember Lot's wife. Don't look back, because you'll turn to salt." But then, yeah, that's a strenuous story. You don't let your kids read. What was
There's
Lot's husband's name? I forget, but yeah.
I'm a guy who doesn't necessarily know chapter and verse, but
Neither. Yep. Not trying to proclaim
so
to be.
there is in the Old Testament. So the Ark of the Covenant is going down the road. Of course, it's sacred. It's sacred. Well, the cart hits a rut and the whole thing's going to fall off. So a guy
Mhm.
jumps in and holds it up so it doesn't hit the ground, and he's killed instantly because he wasn't supposed to touch the Ark. And I said, "What? Well, yeah." But, so
No
yeah,
forgiveness there. Yeah.
yeah. I thought. There must be
No.
a reason that I'm not understanding completely, because I
And
would
there
have
probably
thought,
is.
I thought they said, "Good job there, guy. You saved, you stepped in." And anyway, but
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
so. Thad, you have been many things in your life, but I want to just get some behind the scenes questions answered from you, because you have in the town that you live, which is Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Mhm.
You have been setting up TEDx talks for how many years?
I'm going on my sixth event. So
Hmm.
yeah, since 2018, 2019-ish area.
And you tried
Yeah.
to get out a couple of times, but I'm reminded of that scene from The Godfather, where every time I try to get out, they keep sucking me back in.
Yeah. I don't know if I try to get out, but I'm trying to go to the back end, so I'm less front facing so much. So yeah, I've had someone be like co-lead organizer with me, and then lead organizer, and then they went to back to school. So now I'm in the next session of praying and trying to recruit who I can summon for that role to be front facing a little more and
So
do the core organizing. So
if you've not paid attention a lot to TED Talks, the major league is TED Talk, and then there's a minor
mhm.
league which is called the TEDx Talk. That's
Yep,
a way to
locally
say it. It's not
organized. Yep.
locally organized. How many TEDx Talk local organizations are there? Do you know?
Oh, there's thousands.
Thousands.
It's the global network. Yeah. So it's
Do
more
you?
TED is more popular in like Europe and Australia and Asia. It's kind of odd how it's so culturally received and used. So
Sure.
like, I don't know if it's in every country or every region of the world, but I'm just about. But, so there's thousands.
So,
Yeah.
so
Nice.
do you get together with other TEDx Talks people? Is there like a convention where you gather to get best practices?
I haven't went to one. I got invited to one in New York City, had it booked, had flights, and then COVID set in. So it got postponed and then got rescheduled, and then I rescheduled everything again, and then they just canceled that again. So it's still on my docket to go do. But I stay in connection like with some Fargo people. I've talked with some Minneapolis people. Have helped other people. They're like launching some of their own communities TEDx. So a little bit just like personal reach outs. I haven't gone to the actual organizing ones because they got canceled.
Yeah.
Sadly enough.
So I've been told, well, I don't know this for a fact, but I do get various entities that are trying to reach me and they send posts say like how to get on the TEDx stage. So
Mhm.
that there's this sort of subset of industry where they'll do whatever they can to find
Yep.
you a TEDx stage. I mean, anywhere. I always figured that TEDx was for the town that you were in, but apparently there are the people who say, well, we'll get you on the stage, and they start sending your stuff out to really any place. Do you get
Yep.
applications from other places in the
Oh yeah.
country?
Yeah, we do. Because it's public and TED has it on their website. So you have like find a TEDx talk near me. So there's obviously it's the internet, so anybody can find anything. So
And
yeah.
how many do you then look at these and kind of vet them to see how many other places they've applied to, or what do you do with that?
So yeah, we have an art application process, which is open ended and like equal opportunity. So I have a committee, and they have to like recluse themselves a little bit if they know this person. So like I know them, so I have a little bit of bias, so they have to make that acknowledged. But we do saying that we highly favor people local to the Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or this Dakota region around us. So we don't say don't apply if you're from Colorado or California or Texas, but we just like we highly favor to give the local stage to the local people here so that represent TEDx Sioux Falls by Sioux Fallsian people. So it's like kind of like TED. There's a box, but you're supposed to think outside the box. Like so, constraints. We have a little bit of a boundary, but it's a soft boundary too. I've considered having somebody from not here speaking, but yeah, I haven't done it yet. So
Okay, so nobody's cracked the barrier yet. Nobody's jumped over the fence from
not yet.
somebody.
I've been close though. So maybe next year, Jeff. We'll see.
So, Thad Giedd, you work with TEDx people, you get them booked, and you've been doing it for about, let's say 6 or 7 episodes. So let's say there's about
Mhm.
a dozen per. So that's about 70, 80, right? Uh, what makes a good, I don't want to, I know what the normal answer is going to be,
Yeah.
but dig a little deeper and tell me what makes a good TEDx talk from your perspective.
Yeah, I think being able to make it fun and very interesting. So there's a journey of a storytelling to it, like you would kind of correlate with Jeff, obviously. So it's not a lecture. It's not I'm here to give you information. It's I'm here to give you obviously insight or wisdom or an epiphany in a cool story arc. If that makes sense. So I kind of like to say if you got Jane Goodall or Tony Robbins to come speak at your event, or fill in the blank, very well-known author John Maxwell, but you were like, yeah, this is awesome, you're coming to speak, but we don't want to hear from you for 2 hours. We want you to speak for 15 minutes. So whatever you summarize Jane Goodall with living with the apes for 30 years, give us the like one underrated thing or the epiphany or the really cool story nobody expected or you didn't expect to happen, and give it to us in 15 minutes. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And that's that's what you love about the whole premise is that this guy's a genius. He could talk for 2 hours, but now you say condense it down to 15 minutes. And I can't do
Yeah.
that. But then they do.
Yep.
And
Yep. You're being.
it may not be 100%, but what it is really, really solid.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Thad, I'm right back at you. So, take TEDx, not your version of TEDx, the
Yeah.
things you've learned, the story, What would you tell me that would engage me and be a good TEDx talk if you were to take your own stage?
Oh, right now, man. I mean, I'd say it's all so simple. Does that make sense?
Keep
That
going.
the world tries to present itself as complicated, and then us humans make it more complicated, and then everybody's making it more complicated and more complexity, and technology this and technology that, and add on this, add on that, and all the stuff like, you know, but when the world's pretty simple, once you, I guess, maybe go through the whittles of life and come back on top to realize how simple it is. So,
So, if you've made it simplistic,
yeah.
give me some steps to live a good day
All right,
today.
here's one. I fell
Oh,
in love with Stoicism. So
sure.
Stoicism was awesome because Ryan Holiday, I found his podcast and just
Mhm.
cruised through all his podcasts and then learned about Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus and Seneca and you name it.
One of those
And
guys was in a barrel, right? Was it Mark? He's the guy who's sitting in a barrel somewhere. Is that him?
no, Marcus was the ruler of Roman Empire, kind of the middle late. It's
Okay,
like 260, 270 AD. Epictetus was a slave. I don't know the barrel guy, but I'll come back to that.
sure.
But yeah, the core virtues of Stoicism, like what is life about? They would say it's courage, wisdom, justice, temperance. Temperance being like don't be greedy,
Hmm.
uh, moderation, only use what you need to use. So I fell in love with Stoicism. I was like, I'm gonna have virtues because I've read all the books and I've done all the personal development, I've done all the stuff. But what are the like pillars, you know? But then I got into, yeah, allowing Jesus into my heart, and then I was like, "Oh, I didn't have that." Because Stoicism is, you know, handle your emotions, you know, what's in control, you're in control, but you're only in control of your own responses and how you see the world. But the other virtue I think Stoicism is missing is love, and love
Hmm.
is prominent over all of those. So now I've conjoined, Stoicism and Jesus together. Because I think Jesus did great. It's just, yeah, the Bible can be hard to digest and like understand, and that's why I've loved The Chosen and some of these other like illustrations that I've now come across. That Jesus talked about courage. You know, faith and works is what we need. Faith without works is death. You
Hmm.
have to have
Hmm.
works with your faith. It's kind of have courage to have good
Hmm.
works. But yeah, Stoicism has connected me with me, and Jesus has connected with me, and now I have them in a, I think, pretty good symbiotic relationship. So there you go. There's my 2-minute TED talk
Right.
on Stoicism conjoined with love.
Well, we were talking before about being a dad, and I always think that probably the best class I ever took on being a better person was when I had children.
Sure.
And that is when I was able to understand this love that they're talking about through
Oh
Christ,
yeah.
right? You go, "Oh, I get it,"
Unconditional. Sure.
because you have a little kid and they're naughty and you say, "Don't touch the stove." And you're doing it because you don't want your kid to touch the stove and get burned.
Yep.
And then they do anyway because they're little kids.
Yep.
And then you're not mad at them. You're like, "Oh, come here,
Yeah.
come here, come here, come here." And so when I view my life in that way, as I'm just a lovable, a mischievous, a little boy that is
Hmm.
deeply loved but bound to just get into all kinds of trouble,
Yep.
that makes me understand the emotions behind
Yep.
this faith that I have.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. If you
Yeah.
relate yourself to parenting your own child, which you have a 4-year-old, so you have to let them hurt and let them fall down, let them stumble down, just like our Heavenly Father is watching us do on a near daily
So,
basis.
and you're a
Great.
dad of a 4-year-old, right? Okay, so my dad, and every generation's a little bit different. My dad
Mhm.
was strictly because I said so, and
Yep.
no, and get off. That's my chair. That's my chair.
Discipline
Move.
heavy. Yep.
Rank. He would say RHIP, which stood for rank has its privileges, which meant that he got the bigger piece of dessert. He got
Yeah.
all of that. And it was
Sure.
just the law, and nobody said anything about that.
Yep.
Well, I was a little bit more moderate as a dad because I had all girls, and
Mhm.
I didn't want to be as strict with them, but I
Yep.
was also because I said so, because it's bedtime, go to
Yep.
bed. And now the next generation, which maybe you are in, talks
Mhm.
about more of they would say gentle parenting,
Mental
where you try
parenting, yeah. Yep, that's the
and
word.
you try to bring out everything your child is
Mhm.
without damaging them in any way. I think it's a hard pull, but you are a younger dad, and I want to see what you
Uh,
have to say about that.
yeah, so I don't do spankings. Uh, yeah, I don't do that, but gentle parenting, so I get it on that part, like, I'm not a proponent for physical smacking to correct behavior. I subscribe to, like, patience in the behavior, but man, yeah, like, there's some times, though, where it's just like,
Well,
yeah, the voice gets raised and
yeah.
I try to tell my son, like, because he's like, "Dad, you yelled at me." I'm like, "No, that was my stern voice. That was not yelling. Like, you do not want to hear me yelling," even though he has a couple times. But yeah, like, no, 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 that's my stern voice. You heard my yelling voice. We don't need to take that out of the Pandora's box, young laddie. So
Well, I
I
never.
don't know. Yeah, it's a
I
there's a
I
dynamic of being stiff and stern, but mhm.
yes, yes. I never felt the need to. I never had to spank them. They were more obedient than that, or else I was. I had a
Yeah,
look that they would describe. The look was like,
yeah,
and
that's what
also the
happened.
sigh where I'd go like, which they thought was horrible. Wow, my dad sighed at me. So I guess, this is the
Yeah.
nature we're at. I will say that probably if one of the things that I did say is that, I'm not perfect. I'm doing the best I can.
Yep.
If I make a mistake, and you're right, I will apologize for that because
Mhm.
I did that on occasion. I said,
Oh, yeah.
what I did now, that was not right.
Yep.
And then that way I maybe taught them also a little bit of humility. I enjoyed it
Yeah,
thoroughly. I
and
enjoyed
taking
being a parent.
accountability.
What's that now?
And taking accountability.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause they know
Eh,
those look, even if my 4-year-old is smart, like, he gets it. They know if you're bypassing or lying to them or evading your own accountability. They know, so you might as well just, bring it out in the open.
So you might try this trick. It worked gangbusters for me. I'd say,
Sure.
now listen, when you were born, at that exact moment, I knew that I would die for you.
Mhm.
When you are worth more than my own life.
Yep.
I would gladly exchange my life for yours. This is how much I love you.
Mhm.
Second, I'd say because I don't know everything and I love you so much, I may tell you no simply because I want to keep you safe, right?
Yep.
And I said, ultimately, you're not mine. God gave you to me for a limited amount of time.
Yep.
And as much as you want me to, do what you want to do, I'm far more afraid of God than you. So
Mhm.
he is the ultimate authority. Everything I say is based on what I am told to do as a
Mhm.
parent.
Yep.
Now, then I say this. Now, I do make mistakes. And if you catch me up on a mistake, and so I have my Bible actually right here with me because I got to go do a
Mhm.
funeral in a second. I would say,
Sure.
so, but here, if you can find any way in here that I am wrong, let me know. And they would go, forget it. They never called me out on that. Hmm.
That's
So,
good. I like it, though.
you're in the business of bringing a big group when big groups or big acts come to town. Yours is probably the preeminent group that does all the audio, all the video, all of that stuff. So
Potentially, yeah.
have I saw you post a picture next to John Maxwell,
Mhm.
and you put a slang term. Would you say that was a solid get? Would you say it was? You posted the picture. I was gonna because
Solid
it's
hang. Had a solid
that's
hang of
right.
John.
A
Uh,
solid hang. A solid
but
hang.
that's what he says. I'm John Maxwell and I'm your friend. That's like
Yeah,
how he begins his speaking engagements. So yeah, it's just hanging with Grandpa John.
yeah. And when did you see him?
He was in town this weekend or one of the last weekends for the ResGen Men's Summit of
Yeah,
2026.
yeah.
Which was fun. And I gotta talk with Tim Tebow. I haven't shared those photos yet because just behind on the times, I guess. But yeah, Tim Tebow was fun to chat with too.
Um, Tim Tebow is a big guy.
Yeah,
He's a large person. So maybe so since you hung with these people, since you had the
yeah,
solid hangs, I was at that event.
hmm
And if you were to hold up, let's say this pencil, like see this tip of this pencil here. Okay.
yep,
This is me. And that's about how big I was from the stage. You probably could have seen me
hmm
way up at the top. So I was in the
nice.
nosebleeds, but I was there. But I didn't get a chance to have the solid hang with John Maxwell. All right.
Yeah, next time.
Give me an anecdote of hanging out with him.
It was great. Yeah, we talked about this in our men's group too. Just reflections from that awesome event that Tom Henderson puts on once a year. So what John said, he wants to be the richest man in heaven, richest man on earth. He kind of goes back and forth with, can't take it when I'm gone, but there. And so that doesn't mean the highest palace or most pristine ivory tower in heaven. He's saying, who did he most influence when he's up there? So people will come up to him and say, like, hey, John, because of you, like, I think I'm here with you too. So that's kind of fun and a cool thought experiment in that way. Not saying we're supposed
I
to
heard that.
get
I heard that,
everybody to
and
heaven, but
I thought, okay, that's a heavy lift, John, because
mhm,
I'm going to say that although you may be and rich in heaven does not mean walking around with money. It's store up
correct.
your
Yeah.
treasures in heaven. In other words, there's an end game, and the end game is not the end of your life. It's in
Mhm.
heaven. So what are we storing up here where, moths can destroy or thieves can steal?
Yep.
What are we doing that will give us credit in there? So, visiting the guy in the hospital, right? That goes up there, right? Well, so having said all that, I thought to myself, well, John Maxwell, good luck, because I think that Paul is going to be a lot wealthier than you. Just going to say, he wrote like 2/3 of the New Testament. He
Possibly.
saved billions. I'm in that class. I don't know that you'll ever catch up with his wealth. I'm also going to put a lot of martyrs up there. So
Yeah.
so I'm listening to the thought experiment and thinking like, yeah, but I don't know that you're even going to sit at the
Yep.
top table, right? Yeah,
See, but that's why he's 79 and still going to speak to a group of 5,000 people
yeah,
on the
yeah.
chance that he strikes the ripple effect, I guess. So yeah, it was fun. And then the other thing I remember he said once, uh, when he is with people or doing anything he's doing, he's making an impression at afar. So when I speak to 5,000, I want to make an impression of the 5,000 the best authentic way I can make the impression. But then when I'm up close, one to one with someone, I'm making an impact. So an impression at far and impact up close.
Hmm.
And that's quite a huge crucial teaching there on if you lead a staff of 20, if you lead a staff of 200, that you have to make an impression, like go get them, team,
Hmm. Hmm.
be your best. But then those one to ones, you have to a little bit different hat,
Hmm.
impression, impact, if that makes sense. So we talked
What
about that too.
what impact did he make on you since you were in that inner circle?
There you go, right there. Make an impression, make an impact.
Ah, I see.
I think. But yeah, he's just very genuine. I think we were with him the night before too, and he was doing story sharing about his time with John Wooden, the older, now passed away, historic and legendary basketball coach. And man, you could just listen to him talk and tell those stories. I would have stayed there until the sun came up the next day. So I like that too. Of just being great about sharing the stories, but like in a super authentic way, like
Mhm,
fireside chat or around
mhm,
the
mhm.
bonfire uh, type of stories.
And Tim Tebow.
Tebow, yeah, me and him talked about. It was the second time I met him. Got my old jersey signed that I've had for like 20 years, Florida Gators, national champs
Are
jersey.
you a
And
Florida Gators fan?
yeah, so my dad got me onto the Cowboys in the 90s, the heyday of the dynasty of the Cowboys. My favorite player was Emmitt Smith, and Emmitt Smith went to the Florida University, Florida Gators. So I liked the Gators before Tim Tebow. It just happened. I was like 15, 16, 17 when Tebow was winning Heisman's and 2 national championships. So it was cool. But it was the second time I met him in person. And so I told him the first time I met you, you talked about urgency and had this story. And then you talked a little bit about urgency in your talk today. So that was fun. And he said, "Yep, you're right." And, it's cool. Like he knew I was listening, and he knew I am not just sitting there as a bystander. Like I try to take at least 1 or 2 things away from every single keynote or event I go to. So we talked about that. Like, yeah, you have to live in God's light, and we make our plans, but God guides our steps. But we still have to have urgency
To you, which
in a
means
balance.
what?
So you have to wake up every day saying, "How do I be a vessel today?"
Mhm.
Not just like I'm going to be unintentional about my day. I'm going to go, get ready. I'm going to go get my car. I'm going to go get to work. I'm going to get done with work, and then I'm going to go back home. That's, which I've lived some of that life too. I'm guessing we all have. But that's unintentional. Or my
Mhm,
trick is right now, like I have a few sticky notes or few things I try to, wake myself up for the day, get myself in a mental state of on the top side, not on the woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
mhm, mhm.
And that's one of them. How do I be a vessel today?
And, depression is something that you have struggled with in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, it has. I think you're going back to some of my, since we've known each other a good amount here and there, Jeff, but yeah, did a couple public sharings on when I was in an episode of depression, and yeah, just kind of felt the need, like healthy expression, to let this out rather than be in isolation on it. So yeah, I've had a few spouts. One was after adopting my son and had like the mountaintop, had maternity leave and the joy of that. And I then like, so that was like a honeymoon of 3 or 4 months being a dad. But then after that, I think month 6 through 9, I just like I almost didn't know who I was. My identity was completely changing. My role was completely changing. My balance on stuff and trying to just do all the things while being a good dad too. So yeah, I had a lot of weight at that time and don't think I had the right tools either. Like my faith was not very strong. I didn't have the connection to God I do now. So yeah, depression hit me in a pretty thick season. That'd be like, yeah, 4 or 5 years ago now.
Well, I honor you for it. I mean, I would say that so many of us wear masks, and the masks are so tight to our face that we just
Sure.
won't let anybody in. And
Hmm.
I think if we could just I mean, maybe not to everybody, but to the people that are closest to you, just take it off for a while and just be real.
Yep.
Then you can relax and realize that, we're all in the same boat, uh, doing the best we
Yeah.
can. And it's not easy for all of us.
Yep.
And in a world that is full of fakery, as social media is,
Can
when a
be.
person is, I would say open and honest without being, over the top. I mean, some people just get on and every day they're complaining about something or other, but somebody who's just real about where they're at right now allows other people to say, well, wait a minute. If he's feeling that way and he seems like a good person, then maybe it's okay if I feel that way. And maybe I can, figure out what to do about it. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's, yeah. Hmm. Have you ever heard about Tim Tebow's Heisman?
Which one? Tell me
Well,
about it.
so which one? That's
Yeah.
hilarious. So So he's on the Dan Patrick Show, which I listen to on occasion. And Dan Patrick is a great interviewer. And this is one of his favorite questions. Every time he sees somebody who's won the Heisman, where's your Heisman? Because it's a chunk, right? It's about like 50
Oh yeah,
pounds of something in the middle of your room. And the
yeah.
question is, where do I put this enormous trophy in my house? And some guys will sit in my shed, or it's in the garage, or it's, it's too big for the bedroom, and it seems kind of
Mhm.
dumb to put it in the living room. And I think he was going to see if he could catch Tim Tebow up a little bit, because Tim's kind of a modest guy. All right, Mr. Modesty, where's your
Sure.
Heisman? And then he said something to the effect of, I think he said Tim McGraw has it.
Oh,
I think it was some
yeah, I
country
haven't heard that.
artist.
Yeah.
Well, here's what he does. Every year he auctions that off for a
Huh.
year. So for a
Like a
year,
sure.
yeah, it's for a year, and these SEC country artists, right?
Yeah.
And I think whoever had it was a Georgia Bulldog. So he wanted to get the
Sure.
Heisman and pose his Bulldog with it, and
Mhm.
basically kind of ridiculing Florida, all that stuff, right?
Another rivalry. Yep.
But and he just it was a great story. He told the story, and he does it every year, and each time, I mean, it's a lot. It's like 100 grand or more,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
it is at a charity auction. And what is it's
Wow.
just I thought a perfect and beautiful way
Mhm.
to share his bounty in a way that makes a difference.
Yep.
And I think that
That lines up. Yep.
yeah, it lines up, totally lines up. And I don't think Dan Patrick knew what to say about that. He was just like, all right, there goes that. Right. Yeah. I mean, sometimes we live in a cynical age. Absolutely true.
We
And
can.
just
Yeah.
because you have the persona doesn't mean you are the person. And I think
Yeah.
that little story just went like, wow,
Yeah.
wow, that's real. That's solid. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Tim, they say don't meet your heroes. And I've met some people here and there. But Tim, yeah, authentic, real. That's that's him. And he proclaims to be the good person. And I think is living it out too, talking the talk and walking the walk.
Hmm.
And yeah, and I think his current thing is helping him as the MVP or the Heisman is now his life goal now that he's putting sports to the side, even though he's doing commentary and probably getting paid very wealthy amounts to do that. But he wants to help the MVPs of the world, which he says is the most valuable or most vulnerable people. So those
Oh,
in states of poverty, those in oppression, and he's targeting like victims of sexual trafficking or human trafficking too. So yeah, he's if you follow him on Instagram, you're gonna get a little bit of sports, but you're gonna get a whole lot of Jesus, and you're gonna get a whole lot of what they're trying to do to have like its policy and allocating more money and more, yeah, more resources to getting people out of these trafficking situations. So
so
recommend it if no.
let's say that even though you've met all kinds of people, I'm going to give you one more shot. Let's just say you can take anybody who is alive in the world today, anybody.
Yeah,
You're going to take them out to lunch. Now, Thaddeus, you will have to buy. You're going to have to buy.
yeah.
But who are you going to go? Where are you going to go? And what are you going to serve them?
Jeez, jeez, man. I'm gonna go. Um, just I'll have fun with it. I'll go two people. Uh, Dale Earnhardt, number one. I grew up in a trailer court with cut off jorts and
Hmm.
playing with
Hmm.
cards, and yeah, my dad got me into motorsports, so I was a Dale Earnhardt fanatic. I watched every single NASCAR race on Sundays rather than go to church. So that's where I was in those days.
Did
So
you
Dale Earnhardt.
did you see him in his did you see his accident that took his life? Did you see that?
Oh yeah, live.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was like my like my parent figure passed away. It was
Did you know at the time? It did not look that serious to me when I saw it, but
yeah,
other people said, "Oh no, that's it." Yeah.
yeah. They alerted the public, I think, an hour or two after he died on impact. So yeah, that was a heavy day. I think I was like in 5th or 6th grade. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was something. So I'll go Dale Earnhardt because yeah, raise hail, praise Dale.
Mm.
Still got that in me. Uh, and I
Never
drive
heard that.
some cars like that still. And then I'll say, who was I just talking about the other day? The comedian, the larger guy. I don't know why I can't put his name to my lips right now.
Oh,
Help me out.
yeah, Fluffy.
Nope. Who did SNL and Fat Guy in a Little Coat?
Oh
Gosh.
yeah, Chris Farley.
Chris Farley. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I connect it, but I would love to, uh, yeah, someone like Chris Farley or Robin Williams, just someone I kinda grew up with that brought a lot of comedy to my life, I think it'd be fun. I've thought about, like, there's the question of 7 people you meet in heaven, but what if the question you can also ask is, like, who would you play a poker game with in heaven? And that would be fun to pick your people at the poker table. And I would do just, like, comedians like that, Chris Farley and, John Candy and, a few others. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Who's your favorite comedian now?
Dang it, Jeff, you got the stumpers. Oh, good question. I mean, I love Adam Sandler movies, so but I'd say, like, Adam Sandler's more of a comedic actor and
Hmm.
hilarious actor, not so much a, uh,
He's a great
comedic.
actor. So he
Yeah.
did a movie where he's a basketball scout. I forget the name of the movie,
Yep.
but he really is a good actor. He really is a good actor. Um, okay,
But I'd
yeah.
say, John, Delaney for stand-up comedy in the last 5 years. Yeah, he had 3 of the best Netflix specials I've seen, so he'd be my top stand-up comic.
Of course, they come across your feed anymore. Social media just kind of gives you these stand-ups, so you don't. Maybe I'm missing some, but Nate Bargatze, I get a chuckle out of him. He gets a nice.
Yeah,
And what you realize, and Bill Burr, for a matter of fact, I mean, these are guys, and Dave Chappelle. These are the. My metaphor is back in the time of the medieval kings. The king had all the power, but he
yeah,
wasn't infallible. So to have these jokers or jesters, they would look ridiculous. They would be ridiculous figures, but
mhm,
they were allowed to make fun of the king. And
yep,
so they'd poke air in that. And then because they were ridiculous, they could get in those biting jabs and maybe deflate a little bit of the egoism of the king.
oh, yeah,
And I think that's the modern day comic. I think in a
yep,
world where it's really, really hard to say something that doesn't upset somebody because everybody's got their armor on, the
yeah,
comedian can say anything and say, listen, this is a comedy show. I mean, obviously, I'm allowed to say anything just to get a laugh. And so they have the power. And so a lot of times they are the most savvy commentators on the
for sure.
day.
Yeah, they're good
Then,
communicators. Yep,
yes, yeah, they can communicate very well. All
mhm,
right. So, okay. I think we're down to our last question. The last
go for it.
question is, Thaddeus Giedd, you are allowed to ask me one question, only one question, only one. This is your
Man,
chance. If you ask it the right way, the mask could come off. It could come crumbling down. It could, who knows? Who knows what we'll
yeah,
get out of
got to
this?
think about it. How about if you could go second relive a day or a memory, what would you go relive? Since I know you're still the young buck that you are, Jeff, though, you don't have a whole lot of, memories under
Mhm.
your belt, so
There's a marvelous play called Our Towns. And if you've ever been in it or been exposed to it, when they do it, they remove everything off the stage. It's just empty, it's bare, it's black, and everything is just the people on stage.
yeah,
And in the last scene of that movie, this little girl is flitting around. She's like 12, and she's unseen by any of the characters on stage as they're just living their life and commenting on the day. And she's just pleading with them, pay attention, pay
mhm,
attention. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Can't you see? And she's pleading with them, and they're oblivious, and they're saying, we know something like, tomorrow. And they're in their day. and they're not appreciating their day. Well, my mother was she baked 7 loaves of bread. She was a great cook. She was a
Mhm.
fabulous person. I would go back and just sit at the table and just this time I'd try to taste the food.
Mhm.
This time I'd try to look at my mom and say, I love you,
Mhm.
catch her by
Yeah.
surprise.
Yeah.
What are you saying that for? Oh, right. Phew. But I didn't. I didn't.
Mhm.
So that's what I would do. That's what I would do.
You're making me tear up, Jeff, because
Yeah.
you're thinking you put me in a scenario of being in my grandma's kitchen, her making potato salad, and
Yeah.
how fun that would be to she's passed away now too, so to do that, but yeah,
Well,
we'll get the chance
so
again.
this is what we know, Thad. And I tell
Mhm.
people this and they don't like the second half of it, but it's absolutely true.
Sure.
If you're not laughing once a day, you're not paying attention. And
Mhm.
if you're not crying at least once a day, you're not paying attention. Hmm.
Yep. Maybe once a week for me, for the cry
Well,
set, Jeff.
well, they're
But
good tears and
which I've now
nostalgia.
almost
I'm not weeping. I'm not crying. I just, but a
Yeah.
tear of memory, a tear of appreciating beauty of God's
Yeah.
creation. Be still that know and I am God, all of that stuff, right?
Yep, yep. Yeah, they say, if you're not on the speaking language of gratitude, you're not on the same language as happiness. So, gratitude and happiness have to coincide.
Absolutely.
So, good words,
That
Jeff, good words.
Thaddeus, God bless you. Take care until we meet again. I'm Jeff
Said
Gould, America's Storyteller. I like to talk to interesting people because they say interesting things. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about super famous people or super wealthy people. I'm sure they have a story to tell as well. But what I find most interesting is the story we find in people we can see every single day. So I interview them because I like to, but I also interview them because I think it's an opportunity for you to dig in a little bit deeper with the people you meet each and every day. So until we talk again, I'm Jeff Gould. God bless.